Welcome back to the Us versus Them channel. I'm your host Vince, and we're going to break down the next fight for the upcoming fight night this weekend. We got Cody Gibson versus Aoriqileng. Gibson is sitting at a -172 favorite, and Aoriqileng is sitting at a +134 underdog. Before we get to the breakdown, if I can remind you guys, hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm really hoping we get to 60 by the weekend. That's kind of our goal, so if you guys can help us get there by hitting the subscribe button, we really appreciate that. When you're breaking down Cody Gibson's striking, the one thing you'll notice quickly is he's got a pretty decent boxing. He's used to being the longer, rangier striker, so he just pumps out jabs out there to keep range and work his distance, and he does a pretty good job of that. When he gets in close range too, he feels really comfortable in that range as well. He likes to throw body shots, uppercuts. I saw him throw a decent amount of uppercuts when I was doing film study of him. So he's good at long range and he's good at short range, and he's okay to, he's 5'10", so he's pretty big for the division. Usually the longer rangier guys likes to work the edge and, find the strikes. Cody Gibson's not that kind of guy. He's okay to bring the pressure forward. In fact, that's one of the things that I noted about him. He likes to fight a decent pressure. He's a decent pressure fighter. So he likes to bring the pressure forward and use his long ranges to touch people first and third. And that's kind of what he's looking for. The one thing I like about Gibson is that he comes into fights in really good shape. He likes to, like I said, he likes to stay on the front foot and put pressure forward, but he just likes to fight a good pressure pace. Likes to stay in his opponent's face, not give him an inch to breathe, and he does a really good job of that too by throwing out a lot of volume, and that's a big point that I think will be a biggest factor in this fight is the amount of volume that Gibson throws. Versus Aoriqileng, he throws a lot more volume. Aoriqileng's path to victory in a lot of his fights is definitely lying in his striking. He likes to be a really plotty fighter, so he doesn't really move his feet a lot, and it lets him kind of sit down on punches and kicks when he throws them. So when he throws strikes, he throws them with big intentions, and he usually gets a pretty good reaction out of his opponents when he's able to land clean. Like I said, not only does he throw the punches, but he throws good kicks. He has good leg kicks. I've seen him get reactions from people before from the leg kicks, so that's something that we'll have to watch out for sure, especially since Gibson's going to be kind of on the front foot. Although I would say Aoriqileng has, he's primarily a striker, and that's what he leans on to win fights. And pretty much every single film study that I broke down of Aoriqileng, at one point in the fight, he was losing and he was getting outstruck. So it's just a little, kind of puts a big question mark on picking him when the one path to victory that he's going to have against Cody Gibson and pretty much anybody else he fights is in the striking, and that's sometimes where he also is kind of losing the fight. More so than getting outstruck, the biggest, the easiest way to exploit Aoriqileng in a fight, really, is to go to the grappling. We have seen him get out-grappled before in the past, and not only does he get out-grappled, but before grappling happens, you have to get the takedown. And we have seen in the past that his takedown defense is, an area where that still probably needs to be improved. You can definitely tell. I try to watch these fights from, the longest time ago and work up to the most recent fights to see if there's any improvements or any areas where they might be lacking a little bit. And you have seen that he is able to make some improvements in the takedown defense, but, he's still getting takedown in every single fight. And not just one style of takedowns. He's getting high crotches hit on him, double legs, body locks, every kind of takedown you can get. They're getting takedowns on him. So that's somewhere where Cody Gibson can definitely use in his favor to try to exploit Aoriqileng this weekend. When I try to break down how this fight's going to go, first I try to visualize how the striking's going to go. Obviously, that's where all the, every fight starts. And neither guy is really high level in their striking, and both of them are kind of there to get hit a little bit. They don't have the best, striking defense. So I think they're pretty on the same level, but one guy is going to throw more volume than the other, and that's Cody Gibson. We have seen him time and time again just throw a lot more volume in fights. If you look back at the Brad Katona fight, for instance, he probably landed 150 punches that fight or close to it. Maybe not that many, but he landed a lot of strikes. And then you look at Aoriqileng, a guy who can be a little bit too patient, a little bit too measured. Since they're both going to get hit on their feet, I'm definitely favoring the guy who's throwing the more volume. So I'm going with Gibson on that regard. And when it comes to the grappling, I don't think Aoriqileng's going to even try a takedown. Even if he does, I don't think he's going to get it. So if it comes to the grappling, I think it's initiated by Gibson, and it's either him putting Aoriqileng against the cage or him taking him down with a plethora of different takedowns that are available for him. And at that point, he's going to be on top. So I'm favoring him in that regard too. So anywhere this fight goes, I think Gibson gets it done. But I think Aoriqileng's tough enough to see the final bell. And Gibson's just kind of a decision merchant. So I'm going to go with Cody Gibson on this one by decision. That's all I got for you guys in this breakdown. Stop by for our next video where we're breaking down Kyle Nelson versus Matt Fravella. That's going to be a sick fight. It's going to be an entertaining fight. But it's also a fight where I see a lot of opportunity for it to be on the parlays. So stop by for that breakdown so you can add some input or whatever. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'm the fuck out of here.